about the mentor and request Sakarupa Mataji to welcome Mataji with the gala. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. Kalpataru Bhaksha Krapasat Patitan Pavale.
Mataji is very international speaker and also very authentic writer also.
This curtain. Yeah.
She wrote many books, and especially on relationship with Guru and disciple, the greatness of a Guru. And Mataji is we have books in Hindi also. Sikhya Panth Mein Vaishnav Shikshaye. So these books will also
Somebody has to sing Jara.
explain about the Sikhs community. We don't have, we also have Sikh in Mauritius, Gurudwara, we have one in Fortress. So Punjabi, they have very dedication to their spiritual master. So Mataji wrote very special books so that we also can get some knowledge, the importance of Guru in our life. His books written in Hindi, and we also have Vaishnavism and Sikhism. It's same, Mataji?
No, they are different books.
Different, okay.
Yeah.
This one is in Hindi.
We have in English also the other one.
Okay.
We are finished? We are finished with the first copy. So that was Vaishnav teachings in
lecture, you can have this book. It's how much?
It's any donation they want, more than 500.
That is so merciful. So any donation as your capacity.
So thank you, Hare Krishna. Thank you for inviting me here. Thank you for having me here with all of you. So it's my pleasure. It's blessings of Guru Maharaj that I'm here. So I really appreciate that I have been given such a nice welcome by the devotees in Mauritius. I'm really grateful to all of you. So it's wonderful to be here and wonderful to be a part of the devotional family here. Haribol. So let's start the class. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So we are all here, so we should chant, we should read the Srimad Bhagavatam every day, and it's actually the Amala Purana. So, Nashta Preshu Apadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktira Bhavati Naishtaki Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Jaiva Narotamam Devin Saraswati Vyasin Tato Jayam Udirate. So, as we all know, Srimad Bhagavat Puran is the Amala Puran, and Srimad Bhagavatam should be recited, should be read, should be listened every day without fail. So we all want to advance in bhakti, we all want to become nice devotees of the Lord. So Srimad Bhagavatam is one thing one should always listen to and meditate upon. So today it's a beautiful verse we have before us from the Canto 4, Chapter 11. The verse is 14, and it's about devotion again. So we should be very grateful that we are again and again being reminded about how we should lead our lives. So let's see the shloka first. Samprasanne Bhagavati Purusha Prakriti Gunai Vimukta Jiva Nirmukta Brahma Nirvanam Rachyati Samprasanne Bhagavate Purusha Prakriteir Gunai Vimukta Jiva Nirmukta Brahma Nirvanam Racchati Samprasanne Bhagavate Purusha Prakritair Gunai Vimukta Jiva Nirmukta Brahma Nirvanam Racchati. Please read.
Samprasane Bhagavati
Samprasanne Bhagavati Purusha Prakritair
Mukto Jiva Nirmukto Brahma Nirvana Mrichati
Samprasane Bhagavati Purusha Prakrite Gunai Mukta Jiva Nirmukta Brahma Nirvanam Richati
Samprasane Bhagavati Purusha Prakrite Gunai Vimukto Jiva Nirmukto Brahma Nirvana Mrichati
Mataji's. Anybody from Mataji's who would like to read?
Samprasane Bhagavati Purusha Prakate Gunai Vimukto Jiva Nirmukto Brahma Nirvanam Racchati.
The word meanings and translation by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Samprasanne, upon satisfaction. Bhagavati, of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Purusha, a person. Prakrite, from the material. Gunai, modes of nature. Vimukta, being liberated. Jiva Nirmukha, that's freed from the subtle body also. Brahma, unlimited. Nirvanam, spiritual bliss. Rachati, achieves. So repeat the translation behind me. One who actually satisfies the Supreme Personality of Godhead during one's lifetime becomes liberated from the gross and subtle material conditions, thus being freed from all the material modes of nature. He achieves unlimited spiritual bliss. So this is a beautiful shloka, and the translation by Srila Prabhupada, it explains it all. That one who actually satisfies the Supreme Personality of Godhead during one's lifetime becomes liberated from the gross and subtle material conditions. Thus, being freed from all material modes of nature, he achieves unlimited spiritual bliss. This shloka explains in itself that how one can attain the bliss we are looking for. The bliss is the Anand. Anandam Buddhi Vardhanam. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says how you can increase your bliss, your happiness. So bliss is a superlative form of happiness. Happiness is very temporary, but the bliss is eternal. So that's why here the bliss is being talked about. Maitreya Muni is telling Vidura all about the King Dhruva. So there is this explanation coming. It's the chapter's name is Swambhav Manu advises Dhruva Maharaj. So now the advice is being given to Dhruva that you must be listening in the previous days that what Dhruva was doing. Dhruva Maharaj had been blessed by the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself. And Dhruva would when leave this planet, where would he go? He would have his own planet. He will be living there eternally. He had the darshan of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He had already attained the supreme bliss. But yet, when he returned to his kingdom back where he never wanted to come back, but Krishna had told him that he has to go back. And what he did, Krishna gave him everything, gave him the kingdom he was looking for what he had performed the austerity for. We all know why he did that tapasya. Because he wanted a kingdom bigger than his own grandfather. He wanted to rule the world. And Krishna gave him that. And yet, what did he take away from him? The lust he had taken away. He had transformed his lust into love for the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Dhruva wanted a kingdom, a bigger kingdom, but now he wanted just to be with Krishna, just to be in eternal spiritual bliss. But now he had to rule, but yet Krishna has taken all the asakti, all the attachment to that kingdom. So here it's said that one who actually satisfies the Supreme Personality of Godhead during one's lifetime becomes liberated. Why Dhruva is being reminded? Dhruva is killing the yakshas. Yakshas had all that mystical powers. One yaksha had killed his brother, the brother he had from the stepmother, Suruchi. He had that son of Suruchi had been, Uttama had been killed by one yaksha in the Himalaya region. But then that revenge, which is not a Vaishnava, never take it, but Dhruva is taking that revenge. He's killing all the yakshas. And that's why Swambhu Manu had to come and advise. He's advising him that you're not doing good. And here in the previous verse, that the 13th verse has gone, it's Titikshava Karunakai. Again this verse has been repeated somewhat. In the 3rd chapter also we see the same verse coming, Titikshava Karunakai, where the ornaments of a sadhu have been described. What a sadhu is. So here he is away again. Dhruva is being reminded that you are actually you should be full of mercy, you should tolerate. And the Lord is very satisfied with his devotees when the devotee greets other people with tolerance, mercy and friendship and equality. So these are how a devotee is, the ornaments of the devotee. That they treat each other with tolerance, they tolerate. And then they shower mercy and they are friendly with each other without envy. And they are full of equality. So here also the same, it's been further extended. It says, Prabhupada says in the purport, in the previous verse it has been explained that one should treat all living entities with tolerance, mercy, friendship and equality. By such behavior one satisfies the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and upon his satisfaction the devotee immediately becomes free from all material conditions. So we all know from the Bhagavad Gita that we have been tied into this world because of the 3 modes of material nature. The mode of goodness, the mode of passion and mode of ignorance. It ties us into this world. Why are we here? Why are we again and again coming to this material planet? Because of these 3 modes of material nature, they have actually tied us. We should endeavor for the Vishuddha Sattva, the stage that is Vasudeva state, that is beyond these 3 material modes of nature. So as Prabhuji explained that I have written the books from the Granth Sahib and the Bhagavad Gita, the similarities, it's clearly mentioned there as well. The 3 modes of material nature, they tie us. So Guru Nanak Dev Ji clearly says that na pagwa, na mela, na tandla, nanak rango lalo lal hai. That means na mela. Mela means I'm not in mode of ignorance. One should not be in mode of ignorance. Dirty. Mode of ignorance is dirty, mela. Na mela, na tandala. Tandala means confusion. Rajagun is full of confusion. What to do, what not to do. How to live in this world. And na pagwa. Pagwa means that is we say the mode of goodness. That is compared to the pagwa. Nanak rango lalo lale. Guru Nanak Dev Ji says, I am immersed in the love of Krishna, love of Hari. I am immersed in that. I am fully into it, lalo lale. So this is what one should be if one wants to feel that liberation here. One can only be liberated. We are looking for people, what they say, oh, when I die I want to attain moksha, I want to be liberated. One can never get liberation after death if he is not liberated while alive. While alive, if you are not liberated of these 3 modes of material nature, you can never be liberated at the time of death. You cannot go say that you'll attain moksha. So it's very important for us that we live such a life that Srila Prabhupada mentions here, the previous shloka he brings here, because that is the basis. It says here that one should live in tolerance, one should tolerate others. That's what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave us. Trinadapi sunichena tarorapi sahishna manina manadena kirtaniye sada hari. Those who want to chant the holy name of Hari always, or those who chant the holy name of Hari always, vice versa, what they become? They become tolerant. So if you are chanting sincerely, if you want to really test, some people come and ask that, how do I know I'm advancing? How do you know I'm chanting nicely? What do you mean by attentive chanting? So attentive chanting means when you are developing these qualities, when you are manifesting these qualities, when you tolerate the other devotees, other people, what they say, you tolerate it. You just be patient and tolerant. So it says here, one who is Trinadapi Sunichena, Tarorapi Sahishna, who is very tolerant, who is very, it says, humble than the blade of grass. That's the humility one has. Humility only is that when you serve. Humility is when you forgive others. That is tolerance. That is humility. Humility doesn't mean that you just keep on saying, I'm your servant, I'm your servant, I'm your servant. You have to show that quality of being a servant. You have to forgive others. You have to give priority to others. Amani namanadena. You give respect to others. And you don't seek respect for yourself at the same time. That in the true sense, not in the fake sense. Not in the material world, it's all fake. We just say for the sake of saying. We never follow that. We say to somebody, oh, you're looking beautiful in them. And in our hearts, we are saying that just for saying. We know it. We are jealous of that person. But in the spiritual world, it's genuine. The feeling should be genuine and sincere. You should be one person, front of the face and behind the backs, the same person. No fake. So it is said here that one has to be, Prabhupada clearly mentions, by such behavior one satisfies the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and upon his satisfaction the devotee immediately becomes free from all material conditions. The Lord also confirms this in the Bhagavad Gita. Anyone who sincerely and seriously engages in my service immediately becomes situated in the transcendental stage wherein he can enjoy unlimited spiritual bliss. So immediately one who actually serves the Supreme Lord, he doesn't have to think. He's automatically out of the mode of ignorance. He's automatically out of the mode of Rajagun, the mode of passion also, if he's sincerely serving the spiritual master. Serving the spiritual master means you are serving all the devotees. Spiritual master is only pleased when you serve all other devotees. That is the pleasure for spiritual master. Spiritual master never is happy when you are only pleasing him, telling him or flattering him. He's not happy with that. He's happy when you are serving other devotees, when you are serving the mission, when you are serving Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada clearly said, I am ISKCON. My body is ISKCON. If you serve ISKCON, you are serving me. So if you serve spiritual master, you are serving ISKCON, you are serving Srila Prabhupada. So serving means serving, taking the instructions, following the instructions, serving the instructions. So this is then automatically you come to the Vasudev state. You don't have to worry about it, bother about it. Oh, how will I reach the next stage? How will I come out of mode of passion to go to mode of goodness? And how I will go to the mode of Vasudev state? It's very simple. You don't have to bother about it. You just follow the instructions. You are automatically out of all these modes and your state, you are situated in the mode of Vasudev state. So then it will be easy for you to come out of the three modes of material nature. It will be easy for you to attain the spiritual bliss. Everyone in this material world is struggling hard in order to achieve blissful life. Wherever I travel all over the world by the mercy of Guru Maharaj. In 2005, he told me that I should become an international preacher. And 2007, I was meditating on this, that how I can become an international preacher, what should I do? And then one of my god sisters living in Sydney, I told her the Guru Maharaj wish, and she said, of course, you are welcome, we will host you. And then I took a flight to Sydney, and I was there with the mercy of blessings from Guru Maharaj, and I had my first venture to Sydney, Melbourne, and then I was back and I was in Pakistan. And then I was back, and in November I was in Dubai. in 2007. Then it started from 2007 till the 2020 March, till the lockdown came. I was traveling. I was every year going at least for 2 months around the world preaching. And then when I was back in Delhi, I would write articles, I would write the books, because Guru Maharaj wanted me to be a writer. So this is, we should serve the spiritual master and try to fulfill all the desires, what they have been expressed for us. So it says here, because people do not know how to achieve it. Atheists do not believe in God, and certainly they do not please Him. Here it is clearly said that upon pleasing the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one immediately attains to the spiritual platform and enjoys unlimited blissful life. So as I said, I travel all over the world, and what I ask everybody is, when I meet so many new people, and I ask them, what do you want in life? So everybody says, I want peace and happiness in life. Nobody says, I want God in life. They say, we are looking for peace and happiness. That's the reason we come to the temple. Because we find some peace here. They don't say we find God here. They say we find peace here. So Krishna clearly describes in the Bhagavad Gita how you will get the peace. Nastir buddhiri yuktasya nacha yuktasya bhavana dhanjavate shantire shantasya kutasukam. He says without shanti, without peace, there is no happiness. So that's what Srila Prabhupada is trying to tell us in the purport of this shloka. That if you really want spiritual bliss, if you really want happiness, how you will get it? You have to get connected to the Supreme Lord. Because Krishna is saying the same in the Bhagavad Gita. We got to have the faith in the words of Supreme Lord. Krishna speaks that if you connect your intelligence to me, na astir buddhi, he says, jinki buddhi nahi hai mujhse judi. Those intelligence, those person whose intelligence is not connected to me, they will never attain peace and happiness. So I tell them that if you really want peace and happiness, you have to get connected to the Supreme Lord. The connection to the Supreme Lord can only be done through the spiritual master. There is no other way out. We cannot directly approach the Supreme Lord. Krishna has clearly said that. You cannot come directly to me. You have to serve 7 times, he says, the devotee of my devotee of my devotee of my devotee. So you have to serve them. So we are looking for peace and happiness, but we don't know the right way, how we will get it. So shantasa kuta sukham. Without peace, there is no happiness. So peace comes from where? It's from within. Peace is there within us. How to get it? When we get connected to the Supreme Lord. Peace is hidden in our mind. It is covered by the dirt. Chaitodarpanam marjanam bhavmadavagni nirvapanam. So how you will uncover, how will you recover that love for Krishna that is hiding in your mind, in your heart? So this is important, that we find peace when we get connected to the Supreme Lord. We will find it. It's definite. It's for sure. That's why people feel very much peaceful when they enter the gates of the temple. Because the temple is where the Kali Yuga cannot enter. It's given that Kali Yuga has been restricted outside. It cannot enter where the devotees remember the Supreme Lord, where the devotees chant the holy name. Kali Yuga cannot enter here. It has not been given the place. The places that Parikshit Maharaj talks about, where he gives the Kali to stay, is not temple. He didn't say about that. It remains outside. But at the moment you step out of the temple, you are attracted to the illusion, the Maya, that's the Kali Yuga's job. Then you are attracted to it. But if you take Krishna along with you outside also, then Maya cannot touch you. Kali Yuga cannot touch you then. Then Kali will remain away. So everything said here, that tolerance, equality, that friendliness, these are the signs that of the qualities, divine qualities. So if you carry these qualities with you, if you carry Chaitanya Mahaprabhu with you outside, you do Sankirtan, you do outside, go do book distribution, you chant the holy name, you are protected, you are saved. And this happiness will remain with you, the spiritual bliss will remain with you. But the moment you give in, that you get attracted to the Maya, the Kali Yuga will catch you. So Srila Prabhupada is actually telling us that atheists will never feel the bliss, they will never feel the happiness. And to become free from material existence means to become free from the influence of material nature. So you want to be free from material existence. That's the real liberation, the moksha. Gurbani even says that जीवत ही मुक्त होना पड़ेगा. You have to be मुक्त. You have to be liberated while you're alive. It says there, पहले मरना कर कबूल छड़ जीवन की आस हो सबों की रेणुका तब आओ. It says there that you have to do what? You have to पहले मरना कर कबूल. You have to accept that you will die one day. Those who don't accept this, they only are very puffed up. They live in pride, they live in ego, false ego. They have the false ego. And those who accept that they die one day and that death can come anytime, they're always prepared to die. They will become devotees. It says, "Pehle marna kar kabul chhad jeevan ki aas." Don't think that you're going to live 100 years, you're going to live 200 years and you can make this big palace or you can create this big business. You never know what's going to happen. You accept that you will die. People remain fools. They earn money and then they don't know how to spend the money, and they have what kind of activities they do. Like recently, we all know that how the submarine that actually drowned there in the implosion, that implosion happened and a multimillionaire, the father and the son both died. What they were going to do, they would have got by they spent 1 million just to see the wreckage of Titanic. What would they have got? Nothing. They lost their lives. And they had extra money. That is why they wanted to do this. Just to be popular, just let people know that they had this kind of money. And what did that money do? It took the father and son both died. So these are called the foolish people in this world. That they don't know how and what to do with this life. They got a lot of money, they got a lot of power, they don't know what to do. They misuse everything because they fall into the trap of Kali Yuga, the trap of Maya. So Prabhupada is clearly mentioning that one has to be free from the material modes of material nature. So it says there, "Pehle marna kar kabul chhad jeevan ki aas ho sabon ki renuka." Become what? The dust of the lotus feet of everybody. It says there. Be humble. That's Trinadapi Suniche. Ho sabon ki renuka tab aao hamare paas. The Supreme Lord says, then only you can reach me. If you become the dust of the lotus feet of everybody, you become so humble, so forgiving. You don't criticize anybody. You only love everybody. So it says here again, the word samprasanne, which is used in this verse, means being satisfied. So one who has not conquered his mind can never be satisfied. One who has conquered his mind will become satisfied. So how do you conquer your mind? Krishna says, befriend your mind. Don't make your mind your enemy. So how do you befriend your mind? When you offer your mind to Krishna. That's what Krishna tells Arjuna in the Bhagavad Gita. Give your mind and intelligence to me and then fight. So we have got to fight in this material world. We all have a Kurukshetra of our own. Arjuna had the Kurukshetra, and he's fighting the Mahabharata. We all have our own Kurukshetra. We have a fight going in our mind every day, every moment. All the thoughts, they flood in our mind. What to do, what next to do, what not to do, how and all. We want to do the things our way. But then there is a conflict in our mind. How do we do it? So we all have our own Kurukshetras. Because we are Grastas, or either we are Brahmas, whatever ashram we are in, we will have our own Kurukshetra. But Krishna tells, like Arjuna, we should also do the same. Give our mind and intelligence to the Supreme Lord and follow what He is saying. So how do we know what Krishna expects from us? What He is saying? The next question that can be. Arjuna saw Krishna right before his eyes and he got the instructions direct from him. How do we get instructions from Krishna? The spiritual master fills that post. The spiritual master before us is the representative of the Supreme Lord. So when we follow His instructions, we will have this bliss. We will be out of the modes of material nature. That is the guarantee given. Gurbai says, Guru Sevete Thakur Jane. Those who have served the spiritual master will know the Supreme Lord. None other can know the Lord. Nobody else in this world can know the Lord. Only those who serve their spiritual master get qualified to understand the Supreme Lord. Because they are coming directly through the Guru. So one who follows the Guru, they will become the Mukta Jiva. The word Samprasanna, which is used in this verse, means being satisfied. So those who have conquered their mind, it says Manajite Jagajit. Those who have conquered the mind have already conquered this world. They conquered the three modes of material nature because now they don't live under the control of mind. They control their mind. There are already two kinds of people Krishna talks of. In the 11th chapter, in the Bhagavad Gita, in the last verse of the 11th chapter, 55th verse, he talks about the Manmukh Jeev. So there are only two kinds of jivas. One is Manmukh, other is Gurmukh. Manmukh is who is under the control of the mind, who does what the mind says. And another one is Gurmukh, who looks towards his Guru and he takes the Gurmukh. So there are only two kinds, the Manmukh and the Gurmukh. Then who will become self-satisfied? The Gurmukh will become self-satisfied. The Manmukh what will happen? He will be always suffering because he is following his mind. So Krishna says, Mame Vanshu Jiva Loka Jiva Bhuta Sanatana Manashrashtani Indrani Prakriti Sthani Karshati. Those who follow their mind, they will be always restless. Because mind, they have in mind as the sixth sense. We have given him 5 indriyas. We have 5 senses. But mind is the controller of all the senses. It's the director of all the senses. All the senses are directed by mind. Our mind tells us to see that, we see that. Our mind tells us to hear that, we hear that. We never think twice even that should we hear it or not? Should we see it or not? Is it going to help us? Is it going to help us spiritually? We just don't care. We see what we want to see, we hear what we want to hear. We do what we want to do. That is a Manamukh Jeev. He will never be satisfied. His senses will never let him be at rest, at peace. But a devotee, a Gurmukh, who actually follows the instructions of the spiritual master, he will be at peace. Because he knows, he understands what he is doing. He will be on the right track. His mind will be satisfied. So Prabhupada tells that a person should act in such a way that the Lord is satisfied by the activity. And Krishna is who? He is the Rishikesha. He is the master of his senses and our senses. So we can actually satisfy Krishna. If we satisfy Guru, we satisfy Krishna. And if we satisfy Krishna, our senses will be satisfied automatically. If we eat Krishna Prasadam, we are satisfied. We get cleansed. We get the mercy. So Prabhupada says here, it is not that he himself to be satisfied. Of course, when the Lord is satisfied, the devotee automatically becomes satisfied. This is the secret of the process of the Bhakti Yoga. So Prabhupada here gives out a secret. That how this knowledge can be used for our benefit, for our devotional life. We all who are endeavoring, whether we live in any part of the world, we are all endeavoring for spiritual life, a good spiritual life, a spiritual life full of bliss. And at the end of our life, material life, we want to go back to Godhead. All of us want that. Those who are devotees, they understand. So Prabhupada says this is the secret, what you have to do. You have to satisfy the spiritual master to satisfy the Supreme Lord. Outside the Bhakti Yoga, everyone is trying to satisfy himself. No one is trying to satisfy the Lord. Karmis grossly try to satisfy their senses. But even those who are elevated to the platform of knowledge also try to satisfy themselves. So Prabhupada is talking about the Karmis, he's talking about the Jnanis, that they all are trying to satisfy their own senses. They are not trying to satisfy the Supreme Lord. So those who try to satisfy the senses of the Supreme Lord, they will actually attain the Supreme Lord. They are actually in the right process of the Bhakti Yoga. Karmis try to satisfy themselves by sense gratification, and Jnanis try to satisfy themselves by subtle activities or mental speculation. and thinking themselves to be God. Yogis also try to satisfy themselves by thinking that they can achieve different mystic perfections. So the third is the yogis. Yogis want mystic perfections. Once Prabhupada was in Kurukshetra and a devotee comes, he was very impressed by a yogi there. He says, Prabhupada, that yogi claims that he can walk on the sea, on the water. He can walk in this, there's a big lake there. So Prabhupada said, what's the use and how long he must have taken? He must have performed so much of austerity to achieve that stage just to walk on the water, to get that mystic perfection. And that we can just give a boatman 5 rupees and we can go across the shore and be in the boat. 5 of us can be on the boat and we can walk on the water. So this is, what's the use of that mystic perfection? Once there was, to Guru Nanak Dev Ji, the few yogis came to see him. They had a goshti with him. They wanted to ask questions and seek replies from him. So they asked him, either we should do the punyas or we should do bhakti. What is greater? We should give more charity and work for others more, or we should do bhakti. He said, the reply was, one has got this human form to do bhakti, nothing else. We have to do bhakti. No riddhi siddhis, we don't want anything of that. We don't want to do any charity. The biggest charity is bhakti. If you perform devotional service, if you perform bhakti, what happens? Automatically you don't do you're away from the sinful life. And above pap and punya is bhakti. The punyas, you will be, if you are doing bhakti, only punyas will be done. And the punya at the highest level will be done. You will give other people the name of the Supreme Lord. And then they will never come to this life again. They will be out of the cycle of birth and death. That is what a devotee has to do. He does not just go and distribute clothes and blankets and other things. Of course you can do that. Offer them to Krishna and you can help others. But keep Krishna in the center. Krishna has to be in the center. Prabhupada started with food for life, yes. We offer to Krishna and serve the prasadam to everybody. Those who can't afford it, we go to their cities and we distribute. Everywhere in the world I've seen. In Africa also, in Kenya, in London, everywhere they go and distribute prasadam. I was in Tokyo, that's just few years after tsunami, 1 or 2 years after tsunami I was in Tokyo. And they showed me the place where they helped the tsunami victims. They took prasadam from the temple and went and served there. So this is how Prabhupada has trained his devotees, his disciples and his grand disciples, what they should be doing in this life. So then Prabhupada says, yogis also try to satisfy themselves by thinking that they can achieve different mystic perfections, but only devotees try to satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The devotee's process of self-realization is completely different from the process of the karmis, jnanis and yogis. Everyone else is trying to satisfy himself, whereas the devotee tries to only satisfy the Lord. The devotional process is completely different from others. By working to please the Lord, by engaging his senses in the loving Lord's loving service, the devotee is immediately situated on the transcendental platform and he enjoys unlimited blissful life. So, a devotee is above the karmis, above the jnanis, above the yogis. When we satisfy, we take the instructions of the spiritual master, we automatically are trying to please the Supreme Lord. We are trying to satisfy the Supreme Lord. So when we put our indriyas, our senses into the service of the instructions given to us. If we put our senses to work for those instructions, automatically we are pleasing the Supreme Lord. Because Krishna says, what our spiritual master wants from us, that we should sing the glories of the Lord and preach the glories of the Lord to others. And Krishna says himself in the Bhagavad Gita, those who preach my glories to others are very dear to me. So if we become dear to the spiritual master, we automatically become dear to the Supreme Lord. And that is how one can see, one will actually satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead during one's lifetime, becomes liberated from the gross and material conditions. So that's the translation of this shloka, that one becomes liberated. One tries to satisfy the Supreme Spiritual Master and the Supreme Personality of Godhead during one's lifetime. So we have got only one lifetime. It's very precious. It's very, with a lot of difficulty we have got this human form. We have given a big price for it, a hefty price of 84 lakhs of species. We have gone through those 84 lakhs of species, whatever animals, whatever insects, whatever birds we see outside, we have been all of them. And now we have come to this platform of human form, and that too, we are in the temple and before the deities, before the spiritual master, before Srila Prabhupada here, because it's our greatest fortune. We have passed through all those 84 lakhs of species to be present here. We've given a big prize. So this one lifetime is only we have. So we should not gamble it away. The Gurbani says, tells that Juva Janam Harya. Don't gamble your life. Don't play with it. It's very precious. It's very valuable. Every single moment is very valuable. It should be given in the service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Whether we are in Grasta life, whether we are in any ashram, we cannot take the excuse, oh, I am a Grasta, I don't have time. We have time for everything. We can organize our lives, we have time for everything in our lives. Krishna has given us ample amount of time. He gave us 24 hours in a day. He did not give us 10 hours to sleep. He gave us 6 hours to sleep only. We should sleep 6 hours. We should go out and do our job, our business, our activities only for 8 hours strictly. We should never go beyond that. Or if we can cut down on that and earn just enough to meet our needs, it's okay, perfect. We should not waste a single moment. We should put all the extra moments into the service of the Supreme Lord. So it's very important. We've got ample of time. We can organize ourselves. Nobody should put an excuse like that. And if we become an example, then only we can preach. We can teach. That is why it is preaching. It's not teaching. Preaching is first practice and then teach. So if we follow a set example and become an ideal example in the world, we can be nice devotees and we can be nice preachers. And everybody, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted all of us to be a preacher. All of us have to be a preacher and make hundreds and thousands like us so that they can preach the glories of the Lord. And we are not doing for anybody, we are doing it for ourselves. Don't ever think that, oh, I'm obliging somebody. No, you are doing for yourself because you want to be dear to the Supreme Lord. If Krishna is dear to us, we are dear to Him. If Krishna is not dear to us, then we are also not dear to Him. Understand that. He says, Ye yathamam prapadante tastemam bhajamiyam. If we love Krishna, that means Krishna is loving us. If we are remembering Krishna every moment here, it is that Krishna is remembering us. He is actually in love with us. But if we are not remembering Him, if we don't say we don't have time, then you should be well aware that Krishna also doesn't have time for you. So one should be very, very careful in this material world. How can we get out of this material modes of nature? Only by following the instructions of the spiritual master and serving the Supreme Lord. Haribol. Hare Krishna. So any questions anybody has? I know the class goes till 8:30 or 8:15?
Till 9 o'clock.
Oh, then I had enough time. So we can take question answer again, we can meditate on the topic. So any questions anybody has? No questions. How will we go ahead? Yes.
You just said that we should be liberated when we're still alive.
Yes.
You can clarify this for me.
Oh, very nice. Thank you. It's a very important thing to understand. Because everybody is seeking they think moksha, we'll be liberated. When we die, we are waiting for the yam yam vapi smarnam, Krishna says. The last, you should be taking my name when you leave this world. The last breath of in this world, it should be that you are chanting my name, you will come back to my dham. So it says in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says clearly, That only way for coming back to me is you should be chanting my name at the time of death, when you are dying. So how will that happen? That can only happen, like, it's very simple to understand. When we sleep at the night, it is said to be a short death, For few hours, we are dead to the world. When that's a deep sleep, we don't know what's going around. So that is just to experience what the death would be. Then we wake up fresh, The day is fresh. We are relieved of all the tiredness. If we had a nice sleep, we are relieved of all the tiredness, everything. We are again fresh. Likewise. And what happens when we sleep? Sometimes what is there in our subconscious mind, it comes to before us in the form of dreams. Like the whole day you had some problem, some issue, you were meditating upon that issue. And what happens when you slept? You had that in the dream as well. So you were connected to your subconscious level. Likewise, when we die, Krishna says you should be chanting my name. So that we know, if we are on ventilator, we don't know where we will be, how we will die. So how this will happen, that we will be chanting his name. So throughout your life, if you have been connected to the Supreme Lord, it will happen that in your subconscious level there is Krishna all the time. And then at the time of death, he will bless us so that we will take his name. So real liberation will come. So likewise, throughout your life, how you will be liberated. These three, it says here, these three modes of material nature, they actually control us. Mode of passion, mode of ignorance, mode of goodness. These three, they control us. Krishna tells in the Bhagavad Gita in the 14th chapter, in whichever guna you are placed, you are in mode of goodness. So whichever guna you are placed, that mode will actually control you. So if you are in mode of ignorance, he talks about how a person in mode of ignorance is. What he eats, what he walks, how he talks, everything. So if you are in mode of ignorance, you should try at least to come to mode of passion. If you are in mode of passion, you should try to come to the mode of goodness. If you are in mode of goodness, try to come to the mode of, that is Vasudev state, above these three gunas. These three gunas are the chains. Chain means they are like you have the shackles. These are the shackles. They tie us. So we have to be out of them. How do we go out of them? Like we eat, you say, oh, I am sattvic, I'm a vegetarian. I don't take onion garlic also. I'm a vegetarian. But do you offer, that is the mode of goodness. You are a vegetarian, that's very good. But the same food when offered to the Supreme Lord becomes prasadam. That is above the mode of goodness. It's gone into the Vasudev state. So one who offers every activity to the Supreme Lord, he immediately is placed in the Vasudev state. He rises from these three gunas. So liberation means when you're in the Vasudev state, you are liberated. You will be liberated from these three modes of material nature. They will not affect you now. But it is a constant endeavor. Constant means every moment endeavor. It's not that just we are placed in we are safe. No. These three gunas will be coming back again and again. They'll be bouncing back into your life again and again. And these three doesn't come like single. They come as an enemy. The 3 into 3, they get mishran, they get concorded, they get entwined into each other. So it becomes the shackle as thick as 81 gunas. 3 into 3 into 3, it becomes 9 into 9, 81. So it becomes this thick. So the only way to break this thick shackle is that you immediately always put your activities into Vasudev state. Vasudev state is where you don't leave Krishna. You offer everything to Krishna. What you eat, what you hear, what you wear, everything. Shri Shri Radha Goloknanda Bhagavani ki jai, Shri Shri Gaunitai ki jai. So we offer everything. That is, while alive only, you will be a mukta jeev. You will not be affected by these three modes of material nature. They will not affect you. So those who talk of liberation, they cannot be liberated at the time of death unless they have performed this devotional activity throughout their life. So one has to try to be liberated throughout the life. Every single moment one has to endeavor that I don't want to fall into these three modes. So these three modes, if you want to know, they are in detail in the chapter 14 of the Bhagavad Gita. You will understand from there how a person in mode of goodness looks like, how a person in mode of passion is, how his anger takes him from mode of passion to mode of ignorance. So a devotee, actually that is why these qualities have been mentioned in the verse 13 here. That a devotee is tolerant, he is merciful, he is friendly, he takes everybody as equal. He has no enemy, no friends. He is impartial to all, like Krishna says that. Krishna says, Yona harshati na dveshati na shochati na kankshati shubha shubha parityagi bhaktamanya samapriye. He says those devotees of the Lord, Yona harshit, they are not pleased when they get anything, they just don't get so happy with that. Harshati means that's happiness that is very high happiness like it. So they don't get engrossed in that happiness. But it's very risky, when you get engrossed, when you're too happy, you may forget Krishna. Or when you're too sad, you may forget Krishna. So he says, Yona harshati, not dveshati. The devotee who is not in dvesh, not in jealousy with others, who doesn't envy others. Na dveshati, na shochati. Shochati means shok. Those who are not sad, those who don't feel, they don't feel morose. If something is gone from there, they have lost something, they don't feel morose. They don't feel sad. But we always feel that. When some happiness comes, we forget Krishna. We will celebrate with our family, but we may forget Krishna at that time. We will be jealous of others. Anything that happens, that is actually, it's said very easily, in Hindi there's a saying, that हम अपने दुख से दुखी नहीं होते हैं, हम दूसरे के सुख से दुखी होते हैं. We never get dukhi with our own that distress that has come upon us. We fall into distress when we see others are very happy. When others have those things which we don't have, we feel jealous. We become dukhi, we fall in distress. We feel sadness. Oh, he or she has that, I don't have it. So that's enviousness. So Krishna says, Yona harshati na dveshati na shochati na kankshati. And those who don't have any desires, no material desires. He says, Shubha Ashubha Parityagi. And they don't take anything very auspicious and neither is inauspicious for them. You see, हम मुहूर्त ढूंढते हैं. We go and search for the muhurats. Oh, this is good muhurat. We do this activity during this muhurat. So Krishna says, I don't like that. Shubha Ashubha Parityagi. For a devotee, nothing is very auspicious and nothing is inauspicious. Because all the moments are Krishna's. You are remembering Krishna every time, all the time. Because every moment is dedicated to the Supreme Lord. So how can the thing that is dedicated to Supreme Lord be inauspicious? It cannot be. And how can it be very auspicious? Because everything is Mangalmaya in Krishna. So it's very clear for us. Shubha Ashubha Parityagi Bhaktamanya Samapriya. As a devotee, he says, such a devotee is very dear to me. So such a devotee, who would be? Only a dead body can be like that. When you go near a dead body and you glorify the dead body, it doesn't get puffed up. If you criticize the dead body, it doesn't get affected. It doesn't retaliate to you. A dead body doesn't have any desires. A dead body is free from all sadness, all happiness. That is the state of liberation. So like a person who is dead, like a person who is just living his life. Living a life like this, you will be blissful. A dead body can't be blissful. But he says, if you are like this, you will live in full bliss. That is why you see the devotees, they chant and be happy. Prabhupada gave the mantra. So it's chant and happiness. They go together. So we are always happy when we are chanting. You see the devotees dancing and chanting. Everybody asks, many people whom we meet us, they ask, why the devotees are so happy? Why in ISKCON temple they are so happy always? So that's the reason. When we are chanting, we are happy. Everything is dependent on Krishna. Other day I will tell you, Prabhu had taken me to for sightseeing here to Ganga Talao, and we were at the Alexandra Falls. So when I saw that, I didn't know that was a bit small trail you have to walk up, and then there's a nice wood nearby where you have benches, you can picnic there. So I was telling him, why didn't you get something to eat here? We could have had prasadam here. It's such a nice place. We'll all go like 1 hour back home. It's already 2 o'clock. We go home and then eat. It's a nice place. You should have organized some picnic kind of thing. We could have brought something to eat. And I was telling him this. I said, you're a very bad organizer. I just told him that. And immediately, you won't believe it, we heard the kirtan sound. We heard somewhere Hare Krishna Mahamantra going on very loudly. And he says, I can hear there was somebody chant like this kirtan going on. I said, yeah. And we saw a few devotees coming down the trail with tilak, and they said Hare Krishna to us. We said Hare Krishna. And then we walked a bit further and we were into a group of devotees. So they recognized me, some of them. And they said, we all paid obeisances to each other, and then we started talking. And immediately they said, would you like to have prasadam? I said, yeah, we were looking for it. And they said, we have enough in the bus, we'll just get it. And I said, okay, we'll just join you there and take from you. And they left with us 3 packed, like we were 3 of us. So the 3 packed boxes of lovely prasadam for us. And then Krishna arranged for us in the forest. We wanted to have it, and he arranged for us there and then. Those boxes did not have the spoons, so I just asked him to go and borrow from, there was some person sitting there eating, there were some ladies. And then he went there and they said, yeah, we have spare spoons also. So we got everything and we just had the prasadam there. So how Krishna arranges everything for you. You just desire and it's fulfilled. So if you are, I'm not glorifying myself, please don't take that. It's with every devotee. If you are sincere, you will have many, I can assure you, many of you here must have experienced such kind of things. These are very small things for, like, Krishna takes care of his devotees. So this happens. If you are totally into it, Krishna will take care. Once I was flying, in 2020 I was flying for Abu Dhabi. I had to go to Abu Dhabi for preaching and then to London. So I had to take the flight. It was a 4 o'clock flight, so I had to be at the airport by 2 o'clock. And I had attended previous day, there was a family function, a wedding in the family. So I had gone for the wedding, and from there straight I was coming to the airport. I had just gone home, changed and took my luggage, and I was off to the airport. And I was very tired. And it was my economy class. Of course, I have to travel so much, I only take economy. So I was thinking it's going to be a tiring flight again. Flight is not that big. But then I was very tired and I wanted to have a nice sleep. But then you won't believe it, as I was moving towards the gates, I was checked in, everything happened, I was moving towards the gate. And the air hostess came to me and said, you have been upgraded to the first class. I said, wow. I said, yeah, I'm paying anything? She said, no, we have just upgraded you. I said, wow, out of so many people, she walks to me and she says, you've been upgraded. So I get a royal treatment, nice sleep on the flight, and Krishna again planned everything. So likewise, we have many such things coming up, that our faith on Krishna becomes more strong day by day. So the spiritual life is when you believe in Krishna, Krishna shows. But the people outside in the material world, they believe in science because they say we want to see first and then we believe. So they say we believe in science, but Krishna is opposite. He says first believe and then see. If you have faith in me, I'll show you everything. So such is the liberation, that you are liberated from the 3 modes. You don't think of them. You're already liberated. Whether it's mode of ignorance, if it's going to attack you, Krishna will take care. Have faith in Krishna. He will take care of it. Because you're giving your life to Krishna. So Krishna will take care of that. If you're about to fall in mode of passion, you're going to get angry or something like that, Krishna will take care that you realize your mistake and you are immediately out of it. A devotee is that. He may commit mistakes. To error is human. He may commit some mistake. But Krishna blesses that he can be lifted out of that. He can be pulled out of that. That is why the spiritual master is. That is what Srila Prabhupada is. He's the eminent Shiksha Guru for us. As we enter the temple, he's the eminent Shiksha Guru for us. So he, out of reading these purports again and again, reading what he has given us, we understand that how we can be pulled out of, if we are about to fall into any mode, material mode, Krishna will pull us out. The spiritual master will pull us out. So then we are liberated. A devotee is the one, if he commits mistake, he understands and he never commits it again. That is a devotee. Otherwise, that is like, a devotee does not believe in the Kunchar Isnan. Kunchar Isnan is the Hathi Snan. We don't believe in that. A devotee does not believe in that. That you may commit mistake and then you take Ganga Snan, you come back and then now you are free from all the previous sins. Now you can fill your pages with new sins. We don't believe in that. Devotee is the one, if he has committed any mistake, he never repeats his mistake. He has learned the lesson. So one who learns the lesson is liberated. Krishna knows you will commit mistakes. Draupadi is not committing any mistake. But Draupadi is actually, Krishna sees when we shed off all our ego, we shed off everything, then Krishna comes. So in the case of the Draupadi, when she is about to be disrobed in the courtroom, Krishna is there he's in Dwarka. Draupadi is in Hastinapur, Delhi. Krishna is in Dwarka and he's very disturbed. He's walking like here and there, and then Rukmini is watching. The Rukmini says, what happened? Why are you so much in worry? You are so much in anxiety. So Krishna says, my best friend, Draupadi, Krishna is Krishna and she is Krishna. Her name is Krishna. So Krishna says that my best friend, Krishna, is in a lot of trouble. Then Rukmini says, why don't you go and help her? Krishna says, I cannot go. She's not calling for me. She doesn't need me. She has full faith in her 5 husbands. She thinks her 5 husbands who have already lost her would save her now. And she's looking towards them, but they all turn their heads away. They pull their heads down. Then Rukmini says, then now go if her husbands are not helping her. He says, still she doesn't want me. She is looking towards the Guru, Dronacharya is sitting there. Bhishma Pitama is there, Dhritarashtra is there. She is thinking all these seniors are there. They will help me. How can they let their daughter-in-law be disrobed in public? They cannot let this happen. They will surely help me. She looked towards them. They all put their heads down. Dronacharya puts his head down. Then Bhishma Pitama, he is helpless. He does not help her. Rukmini says, now you go. He says, now also she doesn't want me to come. She has full faith in herself. She is full of that ego that I can protect myself. I am a Yajna Putri. She was born out of a sacrifice fire. She was very pious lady, very chaste lady, very powerful. And she is clutching both her sari with both her hands. But I would say that Krishna tells Rukmini, yet she doesn't want me. She has full faith in herself that she can protect herself. But then Draupadi she cannot match the power what Dushasan had. And she had to let go her first hand and then her second hand. And then she cries. She puts her hands up and she says, hey Krishna Raksha Mam. Krishna, come for my help. And there Krishna appears less. It's fraction of a second is too much. Krishna was already there in the form of sari for her. He protected her. So this is how Krishna waits for us. He waits when we will call for him. When we will shed all our ego, our faith becomes strong in him. So faith becomes strong when we shed off all our ego, all that, he can do this for me, my son can do, my husband can do, my parents can do this for me. No, it's only Krishna can do for us. Only Krishna. It doesn't mean that we don't take care of our family. It never means that. If you are devoted to Krishna, you will take care of your family all in the best way. It's a fact. Your family will be taken care of in the best way. That is very important for us. that we become the devotees, and Krishna assures, if you become devotee, I'll take care of all your things, all your material, spiritual, everything is under my care. That is why he said, I'm the cause of all the causes. Don't think I'm just the cause for the spiritual bliss. I'm the cause for all the material things also. Everything is coming for me. Don't go to demigods. Everything is I'm giving. We get tied into material modes of material nature because we think, oh, this demigod will give this, and this we can take from this demigod. So why to go to Krishna? When we are in difficulty, we'll go to him. When we need mukti, we'll go to him. Why? There is no need to go now. Now I'm living in this material world, so let me go for material things to the material demigods. Let me ask from them. When the time for spiritual bliss will come, then I will go to Krishna. When the time for mukti will come, I'll go to Krishna. So this is the big myth we live in. That is why Krishna had to say, I'm the cause of all the material and spiritual things. Everything. Am sarvasya prabhu mata sarvam pravartate. Iti matava bhajante mama buddha bhava samanavita. They are very intelligent. Those who worship me, those who actually pray to me. Understanding this because everything is coming from me. This material things also I will give you. If you are looking for material things, that is why he had to say it. 4 kinds of people come to me. Those who want money, those who are in pain, those who are inquisitive, those who have knowledge, they come to me. So whether you want money, whether you are in distress, you have any pain, go to Krishna. He will listen to you. Because he wants your faith to get strong in him. He says, I am your father, I am your grandfather, I am your great-grandfather, I am your everything, your brother, your sister, your son, everything you can make me. And it's true. It's the truth that yes, he is the Supreme Lord. Gurvani says, Harar jabantya kach kahe na jamkal, kaho nanak mantan hoi sukhiya anta hai mile gopal. So we're talking about the satisfaction, self-satisfaction. Man and tan sukhi. So Gurvani says, those who chant the holy name of Hari, those who chant Harar Japantya, Jo Haris, those who chant the holy name of Hari, Japa, those who do the Japa of Hari's name, Yamaraj will not touch them. That's the guarantee. The Vishnu Dutas and Yamadutas are there. So the Vishnu Dutas will only come. Yamadutas cannot touch them. Those who are chanting the holy name. And here we are talking about, there's line that has come, they become liberated from gross and subtle material conditions. So they get liberated. Mantan hoi sukhiya. Their mind and tan. Man is subtle body. Tan is the gross body. So mantan hoi sukhiya. Their mind and body will become blissful. Their mind will be blissful. Their bodies also will be physically fit. They will have, if any disease, any pain comes to them, they will not feel it. It will be there, of course. It will happen. But they will, Krishna says, I will protect you. There's the story of Raghu in Jagannath Puri. Raghu is actually, he is a devotee of this Jagannath ji. He is so dear to Jagannath that Jagannath comes and play with him in a form as a young boy. And Raghu is very friendly with him. And one day Raghu makes a garland. And he makes a garland that is made with the banana stem. He takes it to the Pandas and the Pandas refuse to offer it to Jagannath ji. They say this kind of garland cannot be offered to Jagannath. Raghu brings the garland to his home and he places it before him and he keeps on crying. He's crying and crying. And then the Jagannath ji is not accepting any flower from the Pandas. Pandas try to decorate him, all the flowers fall down. Every time they put a flower, it falls down. Now the Pandas know something they have done that the Jagannath has not liked it. In the dream, Jagannath ji comes and tells the Panda, why did you refuse that garland? Go and get that garland. I want that garland. The Panda goes back to Raghu and they plead with him to give the garland. They bring it and place it on Jagannath ji, and Jagannath ji is very happy. He accepts all other flowers. And now one day, Raghu falls sick. Raghu gets dysentery and he is passing stool and vomiting, everything in bed. Nobody is going near him. Nobody wants to clean him. Foul smell is coming. Nobody wants to enter his home. He lives all alone. He's an orphan. Nobody passing nearby his hut. Nobody goes near him. He is so much, he's in pain. Then a young boy comes to him. who plays with him. He says, Raghu, I'll take care of you, don't worry. I'll get prasad for you, I'll clean you. And Raghu cleans him and lets up the incense there so that the foul smell goes away. He cleans the bed, he washes him, he bathes him, put fresh clothes in him, every day he comes and serves him. And one day Raghu says, you are Jagannath, I know. Jagannath, you come here and you do all this for me. Why do you do this all? If you are Jagannath, you can just, by your glance only, you can make me perfect, make me fine, and you don't have to serve me like this then. And Jagannathji tells him, you see, you have to take your karmas. The karmas will come. They will give. The happiness and distress is due to our karmas. Any problem that comes, it's due to our own karmas. He said, you will have to take the karmas. But then I'm there with you to help you out to come out of these karmas. So that is how it is. The karmic cycle will happen. We will get the result of our karmas, our good deeds, bad deeds, what we did. We will get. But if the sad thing happens, befalls on us, any disease, anything, Krishna comes and he protects it. He remains with us. That pain doesn't seem to be pain to the devotee. To others it may seem, but the Krishna stands with them. This is how he works. His work is like that. We take our karmas. Aape bijo, aape khavo. Jo bija tha, whatever you have sowed, you will reap. But then Krishna will be there. If anything happens, he will be there by your side in happiness and distress. So harar japanta kahe na jamakal. Yamaraj will not touch you if you are chanting the holy name. That is guaranteed. At the time of death, Yamaraj will not come near you. Manatan hoy sukhi. And while you are alive, your mind and subtle body and the gross body will be sukhiya, will achieve everything, will get everything, will not feel you will not miss anything in this world. Devotees don't miss anything. People say, oh, you don't eat onion or you don't eat garlic, you're missing something in life. They don't know. We don't miss anything. We eat everything. We eat all the dishes of the world, but they are all sanctified, all offered to the Supreme Lord. So, mantan hoy sukhiya, and there is your mind, gross body and the subtle body will be blissful. And in the end, what will happen? A bonus you will get. Antahe mile Gopal. And in the end, you will meet Gopal. Krishna will be there to take care of you. So this is being mentioned in this shloka. Those who have full faith in the Supreme Lord, those who have deep faith in the service to the spiritual master and the Supreme Lord, they will attain perfection in this life and at the time of death also. They will remain in spiritual bliss throughout their lives. So this has been well explained in the scriptures. So that has been a long answer to your question. So any other question? Yes, Prabhu.
What have been, as a preacher, chiefly an international preacher, what have been your main challenges preaching?
It's always a challenge. When you ask a question, it's a challenge for me. You never know what a question would have. So there are lots of challenges. Like I travel alone. First, the challenge is you got to have your finances organized that you can sometimes it is that Guru Maharaj is there. The devotees got to follow all this: tolerance, be friendly, be not envious. So that is very important when you are traveling over. You are going to different places, meeting different devotees, and being among the devotees. Devotees are same everywhere. They are into the shelter of the Supreme Lord. They are humble, but at times when you are traveling, you will meet many new people, many new devotees. So a lot of things happen. But then you remain. It's testing time for the preacher. That really how tolerant you are, how merciful you take the mercy of others, how you're begging for the mercy from others. So likewise I said, then you have to accept everything what is offered to you. An accommodation, whether it's not to your liking or not to your liking, you have to accept it. You have to. So you should be ready to, I would say, accept everything for the sake of the Supreme Lord. Like I was in the beginning days when I was traveling, the mornings are usually, whenever abroad, India, people have a lot of time. In the mornings even we can have lectures and all. But when we are traveling abroad, everybody is working, only the weekends are free or the evenings are free. So mornings are usually what you will do. I write books and articles, but then I do book distribution also. So in the mornings I would go out on the streets, go take a lift to the mall or take a train. If somebody cannot drop me, then you have to take a train. Like you have to, I would say, don't think it's very easy. You have to walk a lot, you have to talk a lot if you are really, you want to become a preacher. So you have to read a lot, talk a lot and walk a lot. So that's very important for us. And I've been to Pakistan twice. I've been preaching there. In 2007, I went to Balochistan, Quetta. I went to Lahore, and then from there I went to Balochistan. In 2018, I had just had a dislocated shoulder in December, and I was 3 weeks. My arm was in the sling. But as soon as the sling came off, there was a need for me for physiotherapy. But there was no time for me for physiotherapy because I had to leave for Pakistan. Then I went, I asked the doctor, the physiotherapist, that can you tell me that you teach me the exercises, I'll do it on my own. I could not lift my hand till this much, it was right hand. It would go only this much. And it was very difficult for me, being in female body, I've got lots of things to do, that it was very difficult. But then also I said, my family said, don't go. I said, no, I have to go. I have to keep the promises, it's okay, I will manage. On the conveyor belt, how will you take your suitcases off the belt? I said, I will ask somebody's help. And it happened, Krishna, if I was trying to lift it with left hand, people would help me out. And then I was there among the devotees, so they took care of me. It happened, and the program was very successful. I had gone for 10 days, but then I got a special visa and stayed for 25 days. And had 45 lectures to give during those 25 days. So it is that we accept challenges. These are adventures and thrills. So we accept them and I love adventures and thrills. So a preacher should love adventures and thrills to accept them. The life becomes very interesting. Krishna has made life so interesting that you meet so many people, so many loving souls, that it's very, very nice. And I hope if you want to ask anything else, I can reply if I haven't done.
I think what you said is that the last few words that it is actually an adventure.
Yeah.
I think that if one accepts, Krishna consciousness as an adventure,
Yeah.
I think it's the greatest adventure.
Yes. We always say life is an adventure, but a Krishna conscious life is a thrill and adventure in itself. And we remain sincere and honest to our devotional life. We remain sincere and honest to the instructions of what Srila Prabhupada has given. If we remain honest with them, following those instructions, then of course we will ride through the toughest tides of life. That's it. Haribol. But a nice question. First time I encountered such a question. Haribol. Yes, Prabhu. Yeah, you say.
So, at the end of this great adventure, which is a said and you mentioned, I'm sure that everybody who is here, all of us will want to go to Krishna. Again, the same thing, it gives you that magical liberation.
Shh, the kids are laughing.
So, let's say that we've been very good devotees, we've done all our duties well, we serve our Guru, we serve Krishna. And ultimately we'll be dying. At the time of death, okay, it's not Yamraj, it's not Yamdut, it's Vishnu Dut for us. And then the body stays here, we're going. We are making the transcendental journey that was Krishna's abode, but it's the atomic size soul that is going to it. And then when we arrive there, what happens? We stay floating like that atomic size soul.
Acha, you mean what happens when we are in the Goloka Dhama? we attain our Asli Savrupa, the real Savrupa we had. The 4-armed Savrupa we'll get. And if you are a leaf there, a tree there, a dust, a speck of dust there, you will attain your original Savrupa. And minute independence still be with us. We have to be very cautious always of our minute independence that we carry with us. We should be fully surrendered. We'll get the Asli Savrupa there. So the devotee actually is not worried what Krishna is going to do with us. Maybe he puts us a preacher in another loka. He sends us to another loka to preach his glories. A devotee is always at the mercy of the spiritual, that's it, Supreme Lord, that wherever he takes us, he is ready to go.
So which stays formless?
Formless. No, we get Asli Savrupa. Everybody gets an airplane there. The Bhagavatam explains. Here you have a car, there you're going to get an airplane of your own.
That's interesting.
So one should work for that hard, that for airplane we are going to get. We should work hard for that. Yes, Prabhu.
Very nice, the way you connected Guru Granth Sahib with Bhagavatam, that first time.
Oh, thank you.
Really a pleasure. Do you have any compilations like this where you connect?
I think so. You came late. I've authored books. They are here. So.
Because I want to share this with my friends.
Yeah, of course. This is very good for preaching. If you get the knowledge yourself, you can tell others. And our faith becomes strong. I've written articles like this. I've written in the Back to Godhead from America. I've written many articles. I've written an article where about my Sikh uncle. He passed away at the age of 87, 88. How I took him as a young child, as a fanatic Sikh. He would get up every day at 3:30 in the morning and go to he lived in Punjab, near Amritsar. So there is a golden temple in Amritsar. There is another replica of a golden temple built that's also called Darbar Sahib in Taran, just a few miles away from Amritsar. So my uncle lived there. And one of the very rich families there, they had donated lots of gold to the Darbar Sahib in Taran. It's from their family. So he lived there, and as a young child, we used to go there for holidays, vacations. My mother would take us, and they had palatial house, in acres and acres. They had a gaushala at the back of their house. They would have the Jersey cows and the Punjabi cows, and they would be milked, and we would cycle down to see early in the morning how they were being milked and all that. So he would go every day. He would wake up at 3:30, take a shower, and go to go to Darbar Sahib every day, and then come back from there. And he had been pure vegetarian throughout his life, non-alcoholic, nothing. And he would go to the Darbar Sahib, come back, and he would go to the room where he had placed the Granth Sahib, and then he would take a glass of milk and plate of fruit there. And while he prayed, he would offer that, and he would eat that. And then they had cars and drivers, but then they had many shops outside in the market. He would bicycle down. He was such a simple soul. He would bicycle down, and if he needed to go far away, then only they would use the car and driver. So till his old age, I had seen him with a white beard throughout my life, and I had seen him bicycling down like that itself. And when we became devotee, I was always thinking that he is very fanatic. He was the Paka Sikh, with full beard, Gursikh. And I married into a Punjabi Hindu family, so I thought he's very fanatic. I always used to think. But then when I became a devotee in 99, I saw that he was the most happiest person in our life, in our whole family. He was the most happiest person. He was very happy. And he would discuss with me the Granth Sahib, Gita and Bhagavatam. We would, in any family function, if we would meet, and we used to call him Darji. You can, I'll just share, it's there in the Back to God, and the link you will see on the net, Google it, you will see the article. He would always, we would call him Darji, and he would discuss that in any family function. We would not be inside the everybody's dancing and all that, we would be sitting outside in the lobby of the hotel and talking about the Granth Sahib and the Gita together and the Bhagavatam. He loved it listening. And he told me after like few years of us being there in the devotional life, one day he asked me that I want to meet your Guru Maharaj. He said that, I want to seek his blessings. So it was like Krishna's arrangement. He was in Delhi, he was in Punjabi Bagh where I stay. He was at his grandson's home. And Guru Maharaj was coming the same night from Vrindavan to Punjabi Bagh to give a lecture at a disciple's home. And I said, Darji, this is the best moment I can take you. And it was, Guru Maharaj was pretty late in arriving. It was like by 9:30, 10 he arrived, very late, and it was very cold, January. It was very cold. And it was night time. Guru Maharaj arrived and I told Darji, if you cannot sit in this cold, it was an open air program with a lot of heating stoves around. But then I said, if you can't take this cold, because he was already 83 at that time, 83 or 85 he was. So I said, Guru Maharaj, he's coming, but he's arriving late. If you want, you can meet him some other time. He said, no, I want to stay. I want to have his darshan. And then Guru Maharaj arrived, Guru Maharaj sat on the Vyasasana, and I told Darji, you take a chair, you are so old. He said, no, I will sit down. He sat before Guru Maharaj near his feet. And I introduced Guru Maharaj to him. I said, he's my uncle, he's 85 years old, and Guru Maharaj was very surprised. He said, 85-year-old. And he sat there. And after the lecture, we dropped him back, everything over. And just after a month or so, Darji had a stroke. He had a paralytic stroke. And my mother rushed to see him, and I could not go at that time. I had been through a surgery myself. It was the year 2005. So I was recuperating from the surgery, and I was on bed rest. So I called up Guru Maharaj. I said, the uncle who met you, because my mother told me that Darji is again and again taking my name. My mother said, we can't understand what he's saying, but he's taking your name and saying that, please tell her to, जैसे हम पंजाबी में कहते हैं, ardas. Tell her to do ardas for me. So ardas is pray to the Supreme Lord for him. So he was telling this, and I called up Guru Maharaj. I said, Maharaj, the uncle you met, he is down with a paralytic stroke. He just had been hit with a paralytic stroke. So Guru Maharaj tells me, just call him up and say Hare Krishna to him. Guru Maharaj says, say Hare Krishna to him. I called him up. I called my mother on her mobile. So my mother, I said, place the phone. I want to speak to Darji. So my mother said, how can you talk to him? Like, we are unable to understand what he's saying, because in paralytic stroke the tongue twirls. So nobody could understand what he's saying. So my mother said, you won't understand. What will you talk to him? I said, no, you just place the mobile on his ears, because I just want to convey what Guru Maharaj just said. So the phone was placed on his ears, and I said, Hare Krishna Darji. So Darji said, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama. And then I went to see him after a few days. And then I read the 18th chapter of Bhagavad Gita to him. I read the Granth Sahib to him. And then his caretaker told me that Darji had there was in his room a fireplace. It was an old Haveli. So a fireplace, above that fireplace he had got it written, the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, by that caretaker. He had told him to write it in Punjabi and put it before his eyes on the fireplace, the ledge there. And after a few months he passed away. So this is how the connectivity is. This is how a pure soul, whether that is those who read the Granth Sahib even, if they read it with sincerity and honesty, they understand, yes, Krishna is the Supreme Lord there. They understand the sadhu sang, they understand the spiritual master, the Guru. So this is how I wanted to tell you. Haribol. So we'll end the session here. I hope any other question is, anybody wants to ask anything, they can right now ask, or we'll end the session. Hare Krishna, it's been a long time, like it's 1.5 hours. A long class you have here. Haribol. So we end the class. Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Srimad Bhagavat Mahapurana ki jai. Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol.
So we thank Mataji for his enlightened lecture. And hopefully we'll get Mataji
Yeah,
next
one
time.
thing is left I want to tell you all. Raghunath Prabhu is, I was not initiated also. He came to Punjabi Bagh Center in 2000. And how many months you stayed there? 5 months. He, when I joined ISKCON in 99, I started going to that Punjabi Bagh Center. But there was, it was a very small center. It was deities in a garage. And there were not many preachers, hardly one or two. And then I asked Guru Maharaj that I want to read Bhagavad Gita, I want to understand. So I said, please make it so that somebody comes here and stays here and so that I can learn Bhagavad Gita. So Guru Maharaj said, oh, I didn't know what he didn't reply anything to me. But after a few days, he calls me up, my Prabhuji and me, and he says there is a devotee from Mauritius and I'm stationing him in Punjabi Bagh. His wife and him, they are coming. So I said, thank you, Guru Maharaj. So, and Guru Maharaj told me one thing, just take care of them. So when they came, a place of accommodation was, temple had arranged, but there were some missing mattresses and blankets and something, the essentials. So it was back upon us. And then every day evening, I was religiously listening to his classes, going to the temple, listening to him. And I told Guru Maharaj one thing, when he asked me, is everything going on well? You're attending the classes? I said, yes, Guru Maharaj, thank you for quenching my thirst. The line I remember, I told Guru Maharaj, thank you for quenching my thirst. So thirst for spiritual life is there, but he is the one who was the first one to be there, and I read the Bhagavad Gita with him. So, and I never knew after 23 years, like I will be here coming to Mauritius, he being the president here. So, you see what Krishna arranges, Krishna plans, Krishna knows everything, it's his planning. So, he's been my mentor. So, all glories to this temple project, all glories to Shri Golokananda, all glories to Shri Prabhupada, and all glories to the devotees here. Hari Bol. Thank you everybody. Hare Krishna.